China, for example, now speaking out about U.S. tariffs, denying that it is engaged in ongoing talks with the White House. For the latest, let's get to Eunice Yoon in Beijing. Hey, Eunice.
Hey, Carl. Well, that's exactly right. China today denied the claims by President Trump that his team is in talks with the Chinese on the tariffs. In fact, the Commerce Ministry said today, at present, there are absolutely no negotiations on the economy and trade between China and the U.S. The Foreign Ministry also made similar remarks, both of those after, of course, President Trump telling reporters that his team was in direct contact with the Chinese every day. Now, in addition, the Commerce Ministry used stronger language by saying that the U.S., if the U.S. really wants to resolve the problem, it should cancel all unilateral measures on China. So this tougher stance comes as a perception is growing here that the Chinese government is really trying to foment that the Chinese have the upper hand and that President Trump is in a weaker position. The hashtag Trump chickening out has been trending with 250 million views. State TV has also been using one of the memes that has bursted onto the scene here when mocking President Trump officially, calling him the 10,000 tariff grandpa and saying that his constituents have been suffering because of some of his actions. The other memes that are going around, King Know-It-All and Trump the nation builder, but that nation is China. Guys?
But they got to, it's not exactly like their economy is doing well. You speak to Dow, they'll tell you that residence is bad. They'll tell you commercial's bad. I think that the actual phrase that everyone's taken over is an embargo. I don't understand how a country that has got an embargo by the largest country on earth is able to poke fun. I don't know whether that gets things done. Now, maybe you don't want to get things done, but that means I accept the embargo? Is that what they are doing?
Well, I think that the answer would be yes in some ways, because they understand that this is going to be very painful. They understand that this is going to be hard on the economy. It won't necessarily topple the economy into recession, as some of the concerns are in the U.S. I think one big difference that people should understand is that the political systems are very, very different. This is an authoritarian regime. And so the government, though it has to be somewhat responsive to the Chinese public, doesn't have to be as responsive as the government in the United States. And so because of that, the messaging out of here has been, the sky won't fall, we'll be able to deal, we could just keep going on until the very end. And so that's the messaging, and that looks like what China is going to do, although they have also said that they are open for talks. But again, only if they are treated as an equal and it's on their terms.
Eunice, real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, Carl. Nationalism. I'm just curious. We always try and keep an eye on that in the sense of, is it growing there, us versus them, and will there be retaliation against U.S.-based businesses? I'm just curious. Are you seeing any sort of growth in that, so to speak?
Well, definitely the nationalism is growing. I mean, you see that online. There are a lot of people who are embracing the idea that that the U.S., or at least the narrative that the government here puts out, that the U.S. is trying to contain China. So that's really led a lot of people to, kind of joke around a lot more about what's happening and embrace their roots. But in terms of on the street, I mean, you see it in that some people will say, oh, well, maybe I should choose a Huawei phone instead of an Apple, as we've discussed. There are others who said that, we saw like AmCham had a survey out recently that said that, some American companies are having trouble convincing Chinese to be hired. So that you could see it in small ways, but nothing so meaningful yet that would scare away a lot of American companies.
Finally, Eunice, Washington Post has a piece up about administration officials scrambling to stem the damage from the halt on exports of rare minerals. They do quote some trade officials as saying this is fast emerging as our Achilles heel here in the States. How's that being read out there?
Yeah, it's being read very well over here. I think that people have been, again, with the whole nationalism, understand that the rare earths is something that China has been dominating for quite some time. And even though, there has been some argument that they shouldn't actually pull back on rare earths because eventually that could lead other countries such as the U.S. to develop its own rare earths industry, the Chinese want to make a point that they can hurt the U.S. if they need to.
Eunice, appreciate that guidance today. Another important day when it comes to trade with China. Eunice.